Hello everyone, welcome back to TCF Sport. First things first. That's what the 100 for. 100 subscribers on YouTube.
Hey! Oh, well done.
Celebrate the small wins. Celebrate the small wins.
From 100 to 1,000 to who knows where. Well done.
Anyway.
Congratulations.
Well, congratulations to both of us. I know you say it's my podcast, but it takes two to tango.
No, but you do all the work.
Yeah,
You put in all the work, put in all the effort. I just come here, talk a load of rubbish for a couple of hours every now and then. It is a couple of hours, he edits it down. And then, well done. It's good.
Thank you very much. How you doing anyway? You good?
Yeah, very good. Yeah. I mean, he's obviously not that good with his editing because he could have just edited a party popper, couldn't he, for 100 subscribers for this video. So, I'm there giving him a load of praise, and maybe I should wind it back a little bit. There's a bit of nepotism there.
Well, talking of editing, because I am learning how to produce different sorts of videos, and as I messaged you about the forfeit, now I've got new mics and things that we can record outside, the tattoo forfeit. Yep. Good to go whenever you're good to go. So
yeah, I'll have to speak to the shop, see if they're happy for you to come and record it.
Yeah, I mean I'll come with you as well if you want. I don't imagine that we can record it outside, and then record it partially inside. Obviously. Yeah,
I mean I don't envisage you having the microphone on me for the entire recording system. I'm not going to be sat there going, oh my god,
I envisage it being a 5 to 10 minute video of us talking at the start.
Yeah,
showing that you're getting a tattoo.
Here I am for this forfeit that I should have done 2 seasons ago.
Yeah.
And then we'll do the one in the summer, hopefully, all being well, on top of the Spurs Stadium.
We won the league at Anfield.
We won it never again.
It was like at the moment.
It does at the moment, doesn't it? 20 odd years.
Yeah, which we'll come to and we'll get into. First things first, though, on the day that we're recording at the moment, I think we've got a new contender for worst Michael Oliver decision of all time.
Did he give Knockout a penalty?
Well, I mean, the not giving Knockout a penalty pales in comparison to not sending off the Millwall goalkeeper for absolutely caning Mateta earlier on.
50-50 challenge ref. Got part of the ball.
In fairness, in the 82 World Cup, I think it was, Schumacher on Battiston, the referee didn't give anything then either for that assault.
No, I know. I mean, different generations though, isn't it? Different eras, but got part of the ball. I don't know what you're complaining about. He's best ref in England, Michael Oliver. Leave him alone. All the bullying you give to him, all the abuse he gets online. Are you behind that, are you?
Yeah, I'm the one that produced that 50 bullet pointed list of all the worst decisions ever.
Appalling, wasn't it? Not to even to wait for VAR.
Well, is it you said, I think on one of the last episodes that we did, that VAR is too much of a comfort blanket for referees now? Or officials. It smacks of that. But
I've not actually seen the challenge live. I've not even seen the replay. I've only seen a very small clip of it. But the other person involved in our predictions, our brother James, has said that Oliver was in a really good position to see it
10 yards away. Yeah.
So what he's thinking, only he knows.
Yeah.
He's probably thinking, what flight do I need to get to Qatar? Is it there? I'm referring in the midweek. I don't know.
No, or he's probably more thinking, I could give the decision, but not giving it makes it all about me.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Hang on. I was red cut. No, he plays for Millwall, doesn't play for Arsenal. Right, and I don't want to affect the game.
No, I mean, to quote a great Scotsman as well, he could have been killed.
But that one he could have.
That's what I mean.
Or you're saying because he got part of the ball, we was trying to save him from the ball.
I think more that way. That's how Sir Alex looked at it. Right, anyway, let's crack on to it with talking points over the last few weeks that we haven't covered, obviously, since we last recorded. So, first and foremost, is this season's Premier League finished at both ends of the table?
Yes.
Yeah, and to follow on for that, is this season one of the most boring the Premier League has ever seen, in your opinion?
Yes.
Why'd you say?
Well, because of your first question. Is it finished at both ends of the league? Yeah.
But
Liverpool,
I mean, I guess
Liverpool
also
won it. The 3 that came up are down. It's only maybe the top 4, the Champions League places now. And so obviously watch out for Sky News hyping that up over the next 6-7 weeks. The race for the top 4, or whatever it will be.
We've got to keep eyes on it somehow, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I guess I ask more... I know obviously you said that because my first question is the reason why you've also said it's boring, but I ask more in terms of, do you find yourself following it as much as you have done over the last few seasons? Are you as entertained when the matches come on? It's more of a a rounded question too.
I'm not as entertained, but teams like your Bournemouths, Villas, Brighton,
Forest as well.
Forest, yeah. Sorry, don't forget Forest. It's much better. It's refreshing to see how they're further up the table. So it's more entertaining in that side of things. That it's different, but it's still monopoly of the Liverpool City in it, and for the league. And then the ones that have come up are going straight back down for the second season in a row, and it's just looking forward. That'll probably happen next season as well. The gap seems to be growing.
It's mental, isn't it? Because for the 2022-23 season, the 3 promoted sides were Forest, Fulham and Bournemouth. And obviously all 3 of those survived and are now all in the top half of the table. They're doing really, really good things. But the last couple of seasons, or the 2 seasons following that, with last year Luton, Sheffield United, Burnley, this year obviously Ipswich, Leicester and Southampton, the gap, it just feels like it's become a chasm all of a sudden. And I know we talked about this previously, but besides Leeds, I don't see a side in the Championship that could have a chance of staying up. I'm not saying that Leeds will if they get promoted, but you know what's going to happen to Sheffield United and Burnley because they came up, they were in the league last year.
Yeah. Well, it's also the style of play, isn't it? Like, they all seem to play out, we've discussed this before, they all just seem to play out from the back.
Yeah.
And I was discussing with Dad earlier. You would never have a Tony Pulis or a Sam Allardyce side come up and be like, oh, well, he's be open and fluid and play out. It'd be, no, keep it tight, nick a goal, and be hard to beat.
Yeah.
And you'll either get points on the board from drawing, or you'll pick up a win here and there.
Yeah.
But no one seems to want to do that.
It's being adaptable, isn't it? It's changing your philosophy, changing your principles to try and get results however possible. But when you're playing the same way, sorry to interrupt, but when you're playing the same way as other teams that are better than you, what do you think is going to happen? Burnley last year was a case in point. The amount of times that we said, why are they still trying to play out from the back? The amount of goals that they cost themselves and they conceded. And because of the points deductions, I think Forest only finished on 32 or 34 points. Had Burnley been a little bit more adaptable and pragmatic, they might have had a fairly decent chance of staying up, in my opinion. But they didn't. So
there you go.
It is what it is.
If you don't adapt, we're going to be seeing. And Leeds and Sheffield United won't adapt. They'll continue their style of play when they come up.
Well, Leeds, I think Sheffield United would be more likely to adapt under Chris Wilder. Leeds won't adapt
a little bit, but not that much. I mean, remember when they first came up with him a few seasons ago? It was about the centre halves. How they used to keep splitting and going up the pitch, and they were doing that.
Overlapping centre halves, yeah. Which they had a very good first season, and the second season, obviously, they really struggled. Yeah. Part of that might have been because of COVID, lockdown, and they couldn't make Bramall Lane the same fortress that it was because no fans. But yeah, they got found out. And Leeds, I think, would only adapt and change their style if they sacked Daniel Farke, which I'm not sure that would happen, obviously, because if he gets promoted, well, it depends how they start next season, assuming they do get promoted. Anyway, you talked about Liverpool, obviously, the league being finished at the top of the table, which I would completely agree with. But do you think it's a case of Liverpool being excellent, or is it more of a case of other teams being poor, or somewhere in between?
Somewhere in between, because it'd be disingenuous to say Liverpool haven't been very good. Liverpool have been very good.
Yeah.
But the other teams around them haven't been as good. But it's not like it's not like they'd be out of reach if it was one of City's mental seasons, would they?
No.
With the points tally they got.
They'd be close. They wouldn't be above City at this stage of the season, but they'd be close to City and still within.
Yeah, they've been very good, but the other teams around them just haven't been good enough.
I think that's proven by the fact that with 11 games left, the maximum number of points that Arsenal, who are obviously the current side and second, can attain is 87. So by previous standards, I think we got about 89 last year, and obviously we're not going to win the last 11 games this season. We're lucky to win about half of them.
Well, did you see what Troy Deeney said on Match of the Day too?
No.
He was spot on. Well, Arsenal aren't going to win the league, they don't have a striker.
Well, I think everyone has said that.
Yeah. Well, even
from the start of the season.
The post-match with Nuno, Martin Keown asked him about his setup, and he said, he just came out with bluntly, he said, they don't have a striker. Yeah, so I can play that extra midfield or whatever it was.
He got asked by Keown, you set up with a 5 against Brighton, 5 at the back, but you only played 4 tonight. Why was that? Well, he, as you said, bluntly responded, well, Arsenal don't play with a striker, so I don't need that extra man in defence. And obviously Forest didn't really look that threatening, but did we?
I've not seen any of the highlights, unfortunately. But yeah, all of us had Arsenal to lose, didn't we? Because I just don't see where they're going to score goals.
Well, I asked this tongue-in-cheek partially, but it does feel like it could be a genuine point. Do you think Arsenal will score another goal this season?
Yeah, of course they will. Yeah, because teams like to play out on the back, and if we got to go to Ipswich, Muric can't trap the ball, so we might get at least one more goal.
They've got a new goalkeeper there, but I mean, everyone's going to set up the same way against us. So park the bus, because we know they can't break teams down.
So you need your midfielders then to start shooting from outside the box. That's what you need to do.
That's a very good point. Also, that someone else raised on social media that I saw, as much as we haven't got a striker, the goals from midfield were also lacking. I don't know what it was like compared to last season or the season before, but if you're thinking about a title-winning side, say Chelsea, for example, how many goals did Frank Lampard get a season? Or
yeah, but he would shoot as well.
I know.
We are very much like City in that we get out wide, pass, backwards, sideways. We go forward, back again, sideways, just cut in and have a shot. You've got Odegaard, who used to be all right finishing from outside the box, doesn't even shoot anymore.
No, he had one shot against West Ham that went out for, well, Rosed, basically.
Yeah, I know, but have a few more. That could be that could be your first one, and then have a couple of sighters, didn't you? Like, and you might get that golden nugget of a corner.
No, that's dried up because Rice is still on him, but Saka's been injured, so haven't had the same delivery on the other side.
It's putting a dead ball in a box.
Yeah, we're not having this debate again. I wasn't actually being serious anyway, though. It's like,
but now you've got your recording equipment. We can see we put the dead balls in the box.
That's fine. We took it away from Liverpool. I did just want to say one thing on them that you also alluded at. They have by far and away been the best team in the league this season. And the thing that's most refreshing about them, I think they've been the best team in the league this
Forest
season.
Or Bournemouth?
Well, in the context of
I'm being
winning the league, they deserve to be where they are, and they also deserve to be where they are because, unlike us with the constant passing it around, they are direct as anything. They also try and win every single game they play in. Against Aston Villa, it might sound like such a stupid point, but against Aston Villa, they weren't happy to settle for a 2-2 draw. Yeah. They should have won with the miss that Darwin Núñez had, but they always...
Great defending up top.
It was the tweet that I sent you.
Should have shot instead of passing it. Like, how dare he square it for a tap-in the 6-yard box? Outrageous.
It was the tweet that I sent you that if you put Darwin Núñez's brain in a dog, it would moo.
Yeah. Oh, dear. He can't buy a goal, can he?
No. I mean, it's funny because then he comes up with 2 against Brentford that obviously won them the game and they were good finishes. Or we take it back to the game against Newcastle where there's excellent finishes at the start of last season. But he will always have 1 or 2 across a season when Liverpool are in a tight game that he'll miss. Open goals that he'll miss. I remember Luton last year that they drew 1-1.
And that's where your, I'd say 60, 70 million pound striker came from now these days, but it's probably more money than that, unfortunately. But did you see that apparently Liverpool want Isak from Newcastle?
I haven't seen that, no.
So I saw on social media, I don't know how much truth it is in it, but Liverpool really are interested in Isak and want to offer Darwin Núñez and money for him. Yeah. And it's like, yeah, they're going to take that, aren't they? Darwin Núñez and money.
It will take...
I'll tell you what, your Mini... Do you want to swap it for my Ferrari? No. No, I do not. What are you on about? No.
To be fair, he scored 2 good goals at St James's Park, but yeah, I know it's going to take at least £150 million.
Is that what they're saying? Well, he likes playing there, so he's only rubbish at Anfield, really. And Villa Park.
And most other stadiums. I mean, it's going to take at least £150 million to get Isak. That's even if he wants to leave Newcastle.
Yeah.
They're well within their rights not to sell him if he's
got
on the contract.
Got a bit lucky with his penalty though, didn't he?
Yeah, against...
Just put it in the net.
Well, he did. He did to be just. Fair. Yeah. It's interesting though, because also on Liverpool, as much as they deserve to be where they are, when it's your year, it's your year. And I only say that in the sense of the week before City played Liverpool, Haaland got injured. I can't remember who they played. It was Newcastle. It was the same game. Did his knee, missed the Liverpool game as a result. Isak scored 2
on the bench against Madrid, wasn't he?
He was on the bench against Madrid, then didn't play against Liverpool, and then started the next game against Tottenham. He obviously wasn't ready to play. And then Newcastle, Isak starts against Forest, picks up a slight knock, and I don't know if he's going to play in the FA Cup this weekend. They might then be looking to rest him until the Carabao Cup final, because obviously they don't want him to aggravate anything before then because they need him. So it's just a case of sometimes the rub of the green also goes your way. But they deserve to be where they are.
Yeah, I'd still like Newcastle to win the League Cup just for someone different to win it.
Yeah, likewise. I just don't think Liverpool too clinical.
I mean, I was surprised by the result the other night, though. I did think Newcastle could maybe potentially go and get a draw. I mean, I know they got done at City.
Yeah.
But they're a little bit
Up and down.
A little bit Tottenham-esque, and you don't know what you're going to get with them.
Well,
not as mad as them, like. But...
No, but that was the Forest game was a microcosm of that, because go 1-0 down, score 4 goals in 11 minutes, look like you're comfortable and sailing, and then Forest, I think Nuno said that if they played another 10 minutes, they would have equalised, because Forest were by far the better team in the second half. I mean, even Eddie Howe came out and said that the performance wasn't what was expected, even though they won the game. Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Newcastle's result the other night. You thought they might have got something against Liverpool. The thing about Liverpool, though, is they don't have to be playing well because they're that clinical going forwards. And that's why I don't think that, sadly, Liverpool are going to have too much for Newcastle in the Carabao Cup final for me, just because they are that clinical. It's like the game last year. Chelsea had all the chances that they had, didn't score. Liverpool win at the end.
You never know.
No.
But hopefully, like, from a Newcastle fan's perspective,
yeah,
and from a neutral fan's perspective, just want to see a good game, which you probably will get with Liverpool because they are direct and attacking, like you say.
Yeah.
So...
And that also means they do give teams chances as well.
Yes, they do.
You mentioned a few of the other teams that have done really well so far this season. So one of the questions that I wanted to ask is, who do you think will finish in the top 4 or top 5 as well? Because it looks like England will receive the extra position for the Champions League next season. So based on the table that you've got written down there, who are you fancying to finish in the top 4?
So Arsenal should be there. Let's go with Forest because I don't see them tailing off really.
They've got difficult games though, so that is one that I disagree with, because they've run a form that they did really well in. They're against
top 5 though.
Teams. Yeah, I still don't fancy them. It's too tight. I think they're going to slip away.
City will.
Yeah, City definitely.
And then so for the 5th place, let's go with, I'm going to say Bournemouth will get there.
So I will go Arsenal, although I don't know if we'll finish 2nd because of the deficiencies in front of goal that we've got at the moment. City will definitely be there. Newcastle, I think, will have enough. And then 5th, I'm going to go either Bournemouth or Fulham, because I like how both of them have played this season. It's just about if they can be consistent over the second half of the season.
Fulham are too inconsistent. Lose at home to Palace, then go and win away at Wolves. You just don't know what you're going to get with them.
They're a good team, though. When they
are a good team, yeah, they are good. But it's not every week consistency. Like the Palace one at home, I don't get me wrong, Palace are doing really well. I'm not saying you have to win it, but don't lose.
If you want to finish top 5.
Yeah. But don't lose.
Yeah. But I mean, it was a deserved win from Palace as well, based on the stats and what Marco Silva said after the game. It was just an off day for Fulham. But they have had those results earlier on this season.
They lost at home to Man United as well.
That's
poor.
That's the one I was going to pick
out.
out.
We lost them in the FA Cup, so I can't
No, I know too much. You're talking about Fulham being inconsistent. They sort of have a few good results, and you think, right, that's it. They could kick on and move up the table. Don't get me wrong, they are having a good season, but results at home against United, especially, but also Palace, just where they might fall away. I have been impressed by them so far this season anyway, though. Well, to bring it back to Arsenal, I did also want to ask your opinion, obviously, as an Arsenal fan. Do you think, or does it worry you that the board are content with just the top 4 finish? And I asked that because, obviously, under Wenger, that's what it felt like. We were known as the side that always finished 4th. It was pretty clear to Arsenal fans that if we went out and bought an extra couple of players in certain summers, we might have been able to challenge for the league, but we never did that. Part of me worries, because of the business that we didn't do in January, despite Arteta calling for what he wanted, that it's a repeat situation, that now we're finishing in the top 4 comfortably again. That's it. That's what the board are happy with, because that's where the extra revenue comes from. But what do you think?
Time will tell. But I think they want to play by the books as well with financial fair play. But January, you knew you weren't going to sign anyone because we haven't replaced our director of football, have we? So, but the business in the summer, it's looking like actually quite a poor transfer window. I've seen a few fan websites where they're saying, well, we didn't think it was that great, but we didn't think it was that bad. But then now they're going, actually, looking at it now, there was a really poor transfer window.
I think we might not have said it to the same extent at the time, but I don't think either of us were that enamoured with the transfer window in the summer. Obviously, hindsight's a wonderful thing. And
he could have done with one more defender, though, couldn't he?
Another left back.
Another left back.
Another left back. Yeah. I wasn't that opposed to the players that we let go. I did think it left us a little bit short, but I didn't understand why we were signing both Marino and Calafiori ahead of an attacking
But
option.
the squad depth as well, though. I'm not saying we shouldn't have let those players go either, because they're not going to make it there. But we've let players go and haven't replaced players in those positions, so the squad depth is ultimately weaker.
No, I know.
But that's not all in the manager. I've seen some nonsense stuff about, Arteta needs to go this, that, and the other, and it's like, well, no, it's down to the board as well. And yeah, they were happy with top 4 under Wenger. I mean, the sports franchises he owns in America have all won stuff. So I'd like to think that they'd want to win the league. Unless they're just happy with the FA Cup every now and then.
To play devil's advocate to my own point, there's 2 things. Obviously, Josh Kroenke, who's Stan Kroenke's son, has taken a more active role with Arsenal. And the second more important point is over the last couple of summers, we have spent money. So what you just alluded to, I still think we spent 100 million plus in the summer just gone. I just don't think, obviously, we spent it correctly. But that makes me think, all right, they are happy to spend money. So now let's go out and get the missing pieces in forward areas that we do need this summer. Is your patience starting to wear thin, though, with either Arsenal or Arteta? My
patience is wearing thin with the style of play. I'd rather be playing the way we were a couple of seasons ago, be entertaining to watch. You score 3, we score 4. Because now it's just boring. I've said it on a couple of podcasts ago. It's just frustrating to watch. But I'm nowhere near sort of Arteta out and all these sorts of things, because you need to forget, until 2 seasons ago, where we actually challenged for 2 seasons in a row, we were dross.
He came in and
Absolute
we were
dross.
8th or 10th or whatever it is.
We were appalling.
Yeah.
Like, so all this stuff, like, and if you get rid of Arteta, I honestly don't know who they're going to bring in. Or who they would bring in. Like, so I think you need to stick with him. He needs to build his squad and then go. I mean, but again, next season. But just be realistic with yourself. Instead of trying to challenge for everything on all 4 fronts, like he did probably, was it last season, and cost us the Villa game, didn't it?
2 fronts, yeah, because going for Champions League and Premier League.
Just go for the cup competitions then. Try and finish top 4 and just go for the cup competitions.
Or just prioritise the Premier League, as you say. It depends on how large the squad is. You'd like to
because the team they put in the cup competitions, like, get to the semi-final, can't get themselves up against Newcastle, fine. But then, in the FA Cup, lose on penalties to 10 men, piss poor Man United.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong on the style of play, and I think...
Well, you went to West Ham last week with Dads, didn't you?
Oh my God. I think I looked... Right. So the worst thing about it was West Ham fully deserved their win, but it was easy for them. It was easy because all we did was pass, stick across in the box. I get we're playing without a centre forward or a recognised centre forward, but as you say, you can still do more. You can have a pop shot from outside the box. You can certainly move the ball quicker. It was just dross, though. And surely the blueprint for teams this year is what Liverpool are doing. I bring it back to it because they're direct and they're actually entertaining. They try and get the ball forwards as quickly as possible. Not saying you have to play like that with every attack, but to an extent, it is what we did a couple of seasons ago, and it was so much more exciting. Yeah. And I also think, because at the moment the Arsenal fan base,
are you not entertained?
The Arsenal fan base is getting a little bit toxic again because of the divisions over Arteta and how we're playing at the moment. But I feel like if you were actually just to go out and attack and try different things, at least be entertaining. Obviously, you still need to pick up a majority of results.
Look like they're trying to win the game. It doesn't look like they're trying to win the game, does it?
Exactly.
It looks like they're just trying to control possession.
But it is this facade.
Get that perfect goal.
It's that facade of control, isn't it? Because it's almost like we've changed the style of play to have more control in games. But you have control in games.
We had so much control of the ball but we didn't win. Yeah,
the result.
Yeah, I know.
It's the only stat that matters.
West Ham hadn't won in how many up until last week in the league? Was it 3 or 4 with Potter?
He'd only had 1 win, and they had.
Was that Leicester? No,
Leicester is the second game that they won. Yeah, it was. I can't remember who it was against, but they just came off the back of a defeat against Brentford.
Yeah, at home. Mm-hmm. And Brentford this season haven't been that great away.
No, apart from this year, which we'll come to because they do deserve credit for that. But yeah, it was comfortable for West Ham. They fully deserved it, which is, from an Arsenal fan's perspective,
very worrying. When you're saying it's comfortable for them against the West Ham, who were 16th at the time?
Yeah, we could still be playing now and wouldn't have scored.
Yeah,
and we've both said on this podcast as well how poor Areola's been this season. 2 shots on target. 2 shots on target.
I think I was keeping up with the stats on Football Focus? No,
so final score.
Final score. Thank you. And it was like Arsenal's attempts. They had 20 attempts and only 2 on target. And like, what is that?
And the 2 on target, one was a shot from Calafiori on the edge of the box that was straight down Areola's throat. Another, which was a fairly decent chance, was one from Trossard cutting in, which Areola saved with his feet. But it was comfortable. The worst thing about it. Anyway, you mentioned Leicester, obviously their midweek defeat against West Ham, and also the game before that, they got done 4-0 at home against Brentford. Now, obviously, hindsight's a wonderful thing, but based on the record that Ruud van Nistelrooy has had since coming in, do you think Leicester made a mistake sacking Steve Cooper?
I don't know, really, is the honest answer. Would they have lost 8-9 on the row of Cooper? Maybe not. Maybe they'd have picked up a couple more draws, but it's a style of play again, isn't it? They obviously got a style of play they want. Will he be there next season in the Championship with them to bring them up?
Well, he was already talking about preparing for next season in the context of 2 academy players, which I found quite interesting in that he said, next season we'll try and integrate them a bit more. But with his history of PSV not doing a full season there because of issues with the ownership side of things and not being able to bring in players that he wanted to bring in, obviously in January the only player that Leicester signed was a fullback for about £3 million from the Italian league. So as much as Van Nistelrooy hasn't done that well since he's been at Leicester, his hands were tied in the context of the January transfer window by not going out to get reinforcements.
And they're not his players, so
yeah,
they must have had the conversation at some point.
Yeah, so I don't think he would be there next season if they go down, which they are going to go down.
Maresca could probably go back there, couldn't he? Seeing as Chelsea fans are calling for him.
Yeah, but supposedly all the players are very happy under Maresca because of the tactical details and the quality of his training sessions that I've seen.
Okay.
Fans obviously can have a bigger influence though. Although Todd Bowley was talking in midweek to say that they were going to have a dip was inevitable. But when you compare it to last season...
Good God! No, sorry, what was that? What's the Simpsons one? May God have mercy on us all. In the den! Flanders! Yeah, I'm surprised by that. We knew we was going to have a dip at some point.
Yeah, although he doesn't really have that much control, as we talked about in previous episodes. So, because of the divisions with Egbali at the top of that club.
Oh, no. Civil war?
Yeah. Anyway, talking of Leicester, a question that I wanted to ask about Championship Premier League in general. Would you rather be in the Championship winning games or in the Premier League scrapping for survival? Obviously, we've never supported a club that's had that issue, but what do you think is more enjoyable?
Being in the Championship winning games.
Without VAR as well. But that's what most fans, whether they just say that because obviously their club has just been relegated, but most fans who have been in the Championship and been towards the top of the division say, because obviously you're going to see your team win week in, week out.
Well, you're paying money week in, week out as well to get depressed because you want to see your team win or do well.
Yeah.
And maybe... to say it for about the 3rd or 4th time, maybe that's where the style of play comes in, where it's like, at least they've got a nice style of play, but I don't know if that appeases fans. But I remember when you were talking about when Bournemouth came up, and they all 3 stayed up, Bournemouth, Fulham and...
Forest,
thank you. I remember some of the fans weren't happy that Bournemouth had come up because they didn't think they was actually going to stay up and thought they'll go straight back down. And they were saying, I'd rather just stay in the Championship and just be a real decent Championship team.
Which a few sides have obviously said. Now, obviously, those fans in the context of Bournemouth got proven wrong, but they were correct across the first 4 games because obviously Scott Parker was in charge. They got done 9-0 at Liverpool, and it looked it looked like they were going to be in for a torrid season. Obviously,
lovely cardigan though, didn't he, Scott?
Yeah, how much that cardigan cost?
Yeah, about £1,000, isn't it?
Because it has 4 lines on it, whatever it is. I don't know. I don't even know
I'll
what
get
brand
a white
it is.
marker out for you. It looks tacky on the suit though, because Michael Richards wore the suit, didn't he, on the Champions League programme? But yeah, I know. Like,
welcome back to the TCF
I mean,
Fashionista.
what's it? The casual fashion fans.
There we go.
TCFF. But yeah, and then obviously Gary O'Neill came in and did the business.
Yeah, which we both commended him for at the time because he deserved to keep that side up. A word on Brentford is more just a shout out for them, really. You talked about their away form. Now, we gave them criticism, or you especially gave them criticism earlier on in the season because of the inability to win away from home. But since the turn of the year, they've won 4 from 4 away from home. And
who have they played? One of them was Leicester, so that doesn't count. That's
Leicester, another was Southampton.
And that's another buy.
West Ham away, which was a good win, and they were good value for their win.
I'll give you the West Ham one.
They drew 0-0 at Brighton at the end of last year. I can't remember the fourth game. But anyway...
Oh, that was Dross as well, that game.
No, I know, but to me...
They've turned a corner?
Not so much to turn a corner, but I thought that would happen with their away form because they're now playing the teams that they beat earlier on in the season at home. So their home form obviously isn't going to be as strong, but their away form will pick up because they are better than those teams. So
fair enough.
Yeah, and it's, comfortable mid-table, a good side.
Yeah, good.
Frank. Yeah. Have you been impressed with Rashford and Asensio's start at Aston Villa?
I have, yeah. He lines them up, Asensio knocks them in.
The way it's going, yeah.
And he got free kick, didn't he? Hit the bar. Was that?
Against Ipswich. He hasn't scored for Villa yet. Obviously, Watkins.
No, but it's created
a fair few goals
now.
But
and he looks direct and he looks sharp.
That's the main point, that he's actually taking players on and doing it at pace and with a lot of end product, which makes me question why was that not happening at Manchester United, and also with the other players that are doing well. Antony, off the top of my head, has had an unbelievable start at Real Betis. So is Manchester United the problem in that side of things, and why? Is it the pressure of playing for the club?
I don't know, but it is bizarre, isn't it? The Antony one is. I mean, you've seen some of his goals as well. Really smart finishes. Because bear in mind, he couldn't even score from in the 6-yard box with an empty net
at the start of this year or end of last year, whenever it was against Southampton. Yeah. Because a lot of fans who have seen the Antony highlights are going, well, that just shows you how poor La Liga is. But I'm sorry,
no,
it's a top division.
No, it's not how poor La Liga is. It's how poor he's been at United. Whatever's going on there.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever they're asking him to do, or how, devoid of confidence he was. Maybe
probably more that one as well.
I mean, he does think he's a bit like of the Richarlison ilk, and he thinks he's better than what he is. But when he's coming on.
So look at the camera before he scores an offside goal against Burnley. Oh no, he did actually score against Burnley. I can't remember. Yeah, but he's doing well, and as is Rashford at Aston Villa because they're direct.
Well, Antony's doing so well that they're like, I reckon we could pay €100 million and get him. No, you've already got him. He's on loan. Oh, have we? Oh. I was just about to sack the dinner ladies.
Another 200 staff layoffs, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mental.
Yeah.
Did you also see the Champions League draw from the other day?
I saw bits and pieces. Before we go to that Champions League draw, I've seen your clip about us talking about Man United. Roy Keane said exactly the same thing a bit later. Cheers for watching, Roy. He said Man United are a complete mess.
What?
I think it was Keane, not Neville.
The clip about what United are doing in the
we said we basically said it was a mess.
You said it was a mess, because I was talking about the layoffs and the wages that they pay.
Said it was a complete mess, and obviously someone from their research has obviously been looking at all the other podcasts out and about. And like, this is what you need to say.
I wish. Well, a few of the comments on that clip.
He's a leader. Got to war him as a leader.
Yeah, Roy Keane and Ian Wright and Bruno
they're
Fernandes,
good mates.
isn't it?
But that must give you the tiniest little insight into what he would have been like. Can you imagine in the dressing room?
That's the most heated that I've ever seen him get.
Yeah, I know. And they're just talking about it. Can you imagine what he'd be like playing? That's what I mean, a complete mentality monster. But there's that thing where Ronaldo misses that chance. I think it's Southampton at home. And he hits it over. You've probably seen the clip. And he's going, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And you proper has a go at him because Ronaldo scores and doesn't celebrate after.
Yeah, I have seen I've seen the clip.
But
hit the nail on the head though, because it shows you what he must have been like, just to give you a small insight into what he must have been like in the change room and the standards that he set for others, the standards that he wanted, and why that United team won as much as they did. Having said all of that, I didn't think Ian Wright was far off the mark with the points that he made either. Bruno Fernandes, sure, maybe he isn't captain quality for Manchester United, but to dig him out of that squad, having scored the goals that he has and dragged them back into the games that he has.
And he clearly cares, Fernandes. He cares about winning matches, whether he cares about Man United or not. And there was, who did they play recently at Old Trafford? Not the Ipswich one. Because the ref gave a free kick for something that happened. And at first I thought he was having a go at the referee for giving the free kick, and he was having a go at Højlund for not moving because he picked up the ball. I think then they lost it, and then like a foul happened a bit further down the pitch. And he's turned around. He was proper rollicking him. Yeah. But it's also a different style of captain, isn't it? Like you get some captains who can lead by example by playing, and you get some who are just proper leaders. Roy Keane, Tony Adams, Patrick Vieira were those sorts of captains.
Thierry Henry said it best that in the Arsenal teams that he played in, different players, it might have been Thierry Henry or Bergkamp actually, I can't remember, but different players led with different facets of the game. So you would have one that would, like a Vieira or an Adams, who would be the talker and the getting stuck in and whatever else. Obviously, they were good players too. But then you would have a Dennis Bergkamp, who was a technical leader with the things that he could do on the ball. Similarly with Omri, then you would have, I don't know, like a Lundberg who would work hard, or Ray Parlour, and lead in that sense in work rate. And you need all of it to come together because that's what makes the best of the best in title-winning sides. Yes. Champions League draw?
Liverpool got PSV, didn't they?
Well,
PSG, sorry.
the way, so we got PSV, Liverpool got PSG, Bruges got Aston Villa. And
They've already played, don't they? Bruges and Villa?
Bruges beat them 1-0 in Belgium because it was one of Villa's away games. But those 3 draws are all on the same side of the bracket.
Yeah, and then you've got pretty much all the German teams on the other side, haven't you, as well? So they're all going to meet each other at some point.
On the other side, Dortmund are against Lille, which is the same quarter as Benfica and Barcelona. Bayern are against Bayer Leverkusen, which will be a tasty tie because obviously those two are the top 2 sides in the Bundesliga and they drew 0-0 recently, but I think Leverkusen dominated the game.
Bayern also, I think, 8-9 points clear at the top of the Liga, if not
clear.
more.
8 points clear, yeah. And then Feyenoord against Inter will play the winner of Munich and Bayer Leverkusen. But from an Arsenal perspective, what did you make of our draw?
Yeah, it was all right, but we're still going to get knocked out.
Well, some before...
They're not winning the Champions League.
No, I know. Before the games that we played recently, I think the draw was before the 2 most recent results. And obviously people were then saying, PSV is a decent draw, but then it's difficult against one of the 2 Madrid sides. I don't really see us beating PSV now with the way that we're playing. Where's the goals going to come from?
Where's the goal going from?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Well, I don't know if it was the last podcast or one before. I just need to sack off the season now and go again next year.
Finish top 4, because to me, as much as I said we'll finish top 4, it still could be a struggle just based on how teams are going to set up against us for the rest of the season, which is sad to say, but it is what it is. It's reality. I mean, Liverpool as well on the Champions League draw to finish top and then been drawn against PSG is a little bit of kick in the teeth. PSG,
Paris Saint-Germain aren't all that.
You say that, they struggled at the start of the new format, but they've got a young team and they're improving week on week. So I think that could be a little bit of an upset there. PSG are getting better. They're a decent team.
Good. Come on, Paris Saint-Germain.
Who have you got, though, for if you had to predict who's going to get through to the final on the 2 sides of the draw? Who do you think? Who do you fancy?
So for the final, I'm going to go Real Madrid against...
El Clasico.
No, Real Madrid against Bayern Munich.
Fair enough. I don't think Bayern Munich will get past Bayer Leverkusen, so I will go Madrid against... I fancy either Inter or Barca. I'll go Barca. Let's make it an El Clasico final. Why not?
Fair enough.
Yeah. From the Champions League to the Championship, the last thing that I wanted to cover is, again, a bit like what we did for Brentford, but just a word for Frank Lampard at Coventry, because we have obviously given him his fair share of criticism over the times that we've recorded since we started recording because of his time at Everton and also Chelsea when he came in to replace
Did we
Potter.
give him criticism at Everton, did we?
Yeah, he did well to keep them up initially, but then the run of form that they were on, which led to him being sacked and replaced with Dyche.
I think we gave him harsh criticism, right?
Not harsh criticism, but we said that we didn't rate him as a manager, and we have used his name alongside the likes of Gerrard and Rooney, I think, in previous podcasts when talking about his quality as a manager. But to me, what he's doing at Coventry shows that he's a level above those two. He hasn't cut it in the Premier League, that's a fair argument to say, but he's clearly a good Championship manager. What he did with Derby, the argument a lot of people said to counter that was, he had a lot of Chelsea players on loan. But now what he's doing with Coventry...
He's got a lot of Everton players on loan, has he?
Yeah, but now what he's doing with Coventry is decent.
Was 8 out of 9, didn't he?
Yeah.
But they were a decent squad. I think they were just going through a poor bit of form of the previous manager, weren't they? And he got them to a cup semi-final last season.
And the cup semi-final that they should have won based on...
They did win.
Yeah, offside by that much.
Yeah.
It's interesting you say that, though, because over the last few seasons, they have started pretty slowly. They are a historically slow club to start, which is why when they sacked Mark Robbins, who had been there for quite a while, and I think got Coventry promoted amid all sorts of financial issues from League Two to League One, then from League One to the Championship. So a lot of the fans didn't want him to be sacked and criticised the decision. But obviously, since Lampard has come in, having been appointed when they were 2 points above the relegation zone, 17th, they're now in the playoffs at the time of recording on 53 points.
Fourth, I think.
Fifth at the moment. Yeah, because I think fourth is Sunderland.
Fourth is Sunderland. Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, the top three: Burnley, Leeds, and Sheffield United.
Basically, they're competing for fifth and sixth.
Yeah.
And if they can finish in the playoffs, it'll be a really good season.
I'd like to see Sunderland getting the automatics and Coventry come up through the playoffs, but that's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen because Sunderland have dropped off in recent weeks. They lost against Leeds in the last minute, and then they got done against Hull at home to Hull the other day, which was a bad one. So they're going to have to come up via the playoffs.
Which they probably won't.
Not based on the run of form at the moment, because momentum is quite a big thing in football. And obviously those...
Well, they've been playoffs the last couple of seasons now, though, haven't they? They were... I don't know about last season, but the season before they lost to Luton, didn't they, in the playoffs? Well, they played Luton in the playoffs, and I can't remember what they did last season.
No, I think they might have finished just outside the playoffs last season.
Yeah, but they're there or thereabouts, aren't they? So
top half and pushing to come up.
Bear in mind they went down to League One, didn't they, for a little bit, and stayed there for a few seasons. So they established themselves as a Championship club, and then
weren't they successive relegations?
Yeah,
relegated from the Premier League and then got relegated from the Championship.
So, yeah,
because Chris Coleman came in while they're in the Championship after obviously he'd been Wales manager and did well there. Not saying it was his fault, but got them relegated, and now obviously they're rebuilding. That's another old Barclays Premier League staple, in it, Sunderland.
I did enjoy your Blackburn clip.
Oh,
I love two guy.
It was quality, and on TikTok, the amount of Blackburn fans that were commenting.
Oh really?
You loved it.
Yeah,
they absolutely.
I
loved
bet they
it,
did. This is when I used to be a decent team.
Yeah. They also
mentioned fans.
They also mentioned another player who I didn't know. I think Rob Jansen, who was a centre forward, scored in the 2002 Worthington Cup, obviously League Cup final against Tottenham. I don't actually know if it's Rob Jansen. I just know his surname's Jansen, but I'd never actually heard of him. But they were saying that he was mustard as well, needed to be included.
Oh, okay. I can't remember.
No.
I thought he was going to say John Stead.
Well, it's funny because...
Are we just going to continue naming strikers again?
Well,
welcome back to the Striker Barclaysmen podcast.
Strikers are all sorts of players, but I'm thinking based on how well that clip did, the next one in my head is Bolton. And obviously you were talking about Bolton.
Did you hear the players I was talking about Bolton with Dad?
No, but if I were to... So before you list some of yours, Ivan Campo, JJ Okocha, obviously I've got to throw in Kevin Davis and Kevin Nolan there. They might have not been the most graceful players in the world, but
you had the skillful players like Campo, who I think was a centre half from Real Madrid anyway, and Okocha, and then you had a bit of the steel in Davis and Nolan in sort of the middle of the park.
Spine of the team.
The other one, Yuri Djurkaeff.
Yeah, I didn't realise that
he won a World Cup with France in '98.
I had no idea that he was there.
He took them towards the twilight of their career and still got something out of them, and they were quality.
Yeah.
In certain games that they needed them to be.
But then...
And then who else? The Greek lad, Giannakopoulos.
Who always scored against us. I remember he knocked us out of the FA Cup either once or twice.
Johan Elmander.
His goal against Wolves. Oh my God. If you don't remember that, I'll have to show you that because the feet. UC Escalainen though.
Oh, was that the low one? Quick feet and then
he had three players around him. Was it a goal against... Did I say Blackburn or Wolves? I think it was a goal against Wolves, not Blackburn, if I mentioned
Wolves,
Blackburn. Yeah, sorry.
You just love Blackburn Barclaysmen.
Get him involved, chuck him in. UC Escalainen, just because he was a name and a staple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
We've got any others?
From Bolton?
Yeah.
Well, they had Nicholas Anelka, didn't they, for a bit as well?
Yeah, you mentioned.
Which I said on the last one. Yeah. Did they take Matty Taylor as well, the Portsmouth lad? I think he went there.
He was at Bolton for a little bit.
Scored 2 goals from inside.
That was
just inside the opposition half.
Against, playing for
Portsmouth. One against Sunderland, I remember, and one at Portsmouth against, might have been Bolton.
Or Reading. Was it against Reading?
I think David James was in goal, so it might have been City.
Oh, you sure he wasn't playing for Portsmouth at that point?
Oh, maybe, yeah. I could be, yeah.
Either way, yeah, I know what you're talking about, because it was the same season, and it was like 2 or 3 weeks apart, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that 2007-08 season, the same month that Scholes scored that volley against Aston Villa.
That goal of the month is just...
filth, innit?
All those goals should have been at the end of the season as well for the goal of the season. Because that Scholes one as well, it pinged off the bar, didn't it?
Yeah, peach, wasn't it? Because obviously he'd scored a volley for United against Bradford quite a few seasons before, but that one was even better.
That was from the corner, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, that was late 90s.
Yeah, but obviously technique, different gear, but just because of the one that he scored against Villa came off the bar, it always looks better, doesn't it? Yeah. What's known as a game ender on FIFA.
Yeah.
Well, Villa should have just wrapped up. No, you know what? Fair play, lads.
Sorry, guys. I know you paid 40, 50 quid for your ticket, but that's the end of the game.
But now when you compare it, to keep bringing it back to the modern game, you compare it to what we see now, and obviously the pass. It's just different, isn't it?
Well, that's what I like about Mamouche, the lad City have just signed. He'll be willing to shoot.
Not afraid to shoot.
More of that, yeah. Not afraid to shoot.
Yeah. Anyway.
Did you see Carragher's comments about the AFCON
nations? Yeah.
Which there's nothing really that bad, but to say it's not a major tournament is nonsense. But to a European fan, yeah, it's not a major tournament. But then to an African fan, is the Euros a major tournament?
Yeah.
It shouldn't be qualified as such. If you was an African fan, would you?
No.
If you're in Africa, do you really care about the European football? No. Only if it's on the TV. Again, like the African Cup of Nations, if it's on the TV, I'm looking for the big games.
Yeah.
They don't care about Latvia against
Czech Republic.
Yeah. Even though Czech Republic are decent. No, that's disingenuous to Czech Republic. They don't care about Latvia against Scotland.
Brilliant.
Well, it's true. They probably tune in to watch Czech Republic, not Scotland.
Yeah.
But do you know what I mean? Like, so it's from perspective, isn't it? Like, so you can't turn around and say AFCON's not a big tournament, big competition, and then think the Euros is still a big competition. It's the same. It's like the Copa America.
Yeah. Well, they're all of those, because that's where I take issue with what Carragher said. You can either call all of them a major tournament, or you call all of them not a major tournament, because they are all on the same level.
Yeah,
they're
absolutely.
all a continental competition, so therefore they are of the same value, which is where I disagree with him. He came out and qualified what he said, or tried to qualify what he said on Twitter, but obviously at the time he got a bit of backlash.
But he's talking live as well, isn't he? So
yeah,
and you can get more backlash from talking live, but it's about how you put your point across, and obviously he hasn't put it across very well. But again, like you say, I'm sorry for cutting across you. In that case, then the only big one is the World Cup. Then, and the teams that are good enough to get to the World Cup, they're classed as world-class players. Unless you miss a penalty against France.
Using that logic, yeah, and we're not having that debate again. Anyway, do you have anything that you want to say about the last couple of match weeks? Any more points that you want to cover?
No, not if we're going to talk about the last couple of match weeks.
Well, is there other points that you want to talk about?
Michael Oliver.
Michael Oliver
didn't send off the Millwall keeper today.
Yes, there we go. We've got a new one.
Despite the fact he poleaxed Jean-Philippe Mateta.
Put him in the hospital.
Good
literally.
challenge, that. Yeah. Won't give a red card for that 5 yards out, but sorry to take it back to Arsenal, but Miles Lewis-Skelly, having now watched the VAR stuff, I'm going to send him off, mate. You do you, Michael.
Even better point.
Yeah,
even better point. But that leaves me just to wrap up.
Boggles the mind.
It does, yes, it really does. With the table of results.
No, it doesn't. No,
from match week 26, I got 7, you got 4, James got 3. But then it turned round in match week 27, which is the last weekend's action. I got 9.
Midweek, wasn't it?
Sorry, midweek action. I got 9, you got 6, and James got 12 because he had 3 correct scores. So that leaves the overall scores as I'm on 173, you're on 156, and James is on 163. So he has opened up a little gap to you.
Well, he was starting to close it to you as well, wasn't he, a little bit? And then I was starting to close it to him, but yeah, the 3 correct scores has killed me, really. But yeah, there you go.
Yeah, still plenty of 11 weeks left yet, which means what's that?
330 points.
Yeah, exactly. It's all to play for. And what you said off recording at the start of the episode about you think that the 2 losers should play ends with an R9 haircut. I think, yeah, James, we're doing that. The 2 losers. It's my podcast, as you said, my podcast. The 2 losers have to get the R9 haircut and then play ends.
And then what's the forfeit after that?
I don't know. We'll work. I'll go. No, then you have to be a mascot for a non-league club.
Okay.
Walk out with the starting 11.
Holding the captain's hand.
Yeah. And you can play ends. We'll get you, one of you, a Brazilian Ronaldo t-shirt with the old Mercurials, and then one of you can have an old I don't know, Barcelona or PSV or Inter shirt.
Just the away Brazil shirt.
Or the away Brazil shirt, the blue one. Go with that, because that's
exactly.
from the year that they won the World Cup in 2002.
That's a lovely kit as well.
Yeah.
That's the old Ronaldinho lobbing Seaman from 40 yards.
It is, yes. Something
I've heard you can do that.
You took the words right out of my mouth. And on that note, to wrap up, to finish aptly, thank you so much for joining me, as per usual. And for everyone watching on YouTube or listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, thank you for tuning in. As per usual, like, subscribe, comment, get involved. Subscribers slowly ticking up, which is good to see. And produce more content soon with the forfeit coming, which will get booked in over the next...
Oh, the tattoo forfeit.
Yes, yeah, the first forfeit.
Yeah.
We'll get that sorted.
I'll have to speak to the shop.
Yeah, well, like I said, I'll come with you.
I'm going to a brand. Oh, you're going to come with me, are you?
I can come with you if you want me to come with you.
Yeah. Might be worthwhile.
Whenever.
Yeah.
Anyway, you shall hear us and see us on the next one. Thank you very much.